So now, end of episode 3, beginning of episode 4, A New Hope. 16, 17 years, 18 years have passed, and the Empire has this solid grip. There's the rebels, who they can barely operate, but they have to operate in real extreme secrecy because when you have the Force, you're very effective, and they're always moving because the Force. If you want to use the Force to find something, you'll find it. And that's look at the beginning of episode 5. That's what the Empire found them. It's because they got the Force. They got Vader, operating with them. And they're using, it's like secretly, the people of Leia, her name is Leia Organa, but she's a senator for a planet. I'm forgetting the name of the planet, but it's the one they destroyed in episode 4. But she is a representative, and so she had diplomatic immunity, but she's essentially, she's joined, or she's on the process of joining the Rebel Alliance. And so the Rebel Alliance is just a small group of people who realize, we got to fight these guys, but they don't have an army. The Empire has an army, so they have to organize an army, and that's what they end up doing. Is forming this army over on Yavin. And the Empire has developed the Death Star as their ultimate control, mechanism, because they basically orbit outside of a planet and tell the planet, listen, subdue or destroy your planet. They more than likely probably try to challenge and then bam, just annihilate the planet. So you can imagine just people just disappear, because that's something else to realize that's the way Palpatine runs. Rules things that he just makes things disappear. So you don't realize. How does Vader operate? Well, if Vader feels he needs to, he'll kill anybody he feels necessary. The only reason why he keeps the princess alive, Leia alive, is to get information out of her, but also because, she is, a chancellor. There's certain, you can't outright kill her, but it's also, she has a lot of access, and if anything, you're also, if I keep you prisoner, you're a target, and as a target, you're going to. Somebody will eventually want to break you out, will want to come rescue you. And so it's like by real good chance that they linked up on the Death Star. Let's see. Obi-Wan gets involved because the Force basically brought Luke to Obi-Wan. Because Obi-Wan is just living off this little, part of the desert. Because he realizes, because here's something else that's really weird in my mind is, where are you going to hide your kid? Or where are you going to hide a kid who is Anakin's son? Go to his planet, give it to his family? Give him the name Skywalker as well? Like, don't you think that in all this time, Anakin will, miss his family maybe, or want to visit his home, or that he's going to look... or maybe he will look for kids, but if he thinks they're dead, then that's one thing. But still, I don't know. You just kind of wonder, But maybe also it was kind of a ploy. But Obi-Wan has been studying this new way to use the Force, and I think what it was is that one of the ways to use the Force was to also project yourself into the Force, and to basically live on forever, but as part of the Force. And I think ultimately that's what they realized. Well, this is how we're going to win. This is how we're going to defeat the Sith. That we're going to have, we're going to have to basically have people, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, become part of the Force. And with that, they can manipulate the Force at will, and they can manipulate it in the person itself, and kind of direct the person. And so that's where, they get the premonition stuff. So ultimately, you become part of the warrior, and that one warrior, because that's also how the Jedi operate. One warrior goes in and takes care of it. That makes him exponentially more effective. That's why, beginning of episode 3, what does Luke do? He charges right in to at the beginning of episode 3. What does he do? He charges right in to Jabba's palace, and is overwhelmed at one point, but comes out of it glowing. It just kills everybody. So when Luke walks in, people are like, no, we don't want the Jedi in here. And then once they got him, they're like, oh great, oh shit, this Jedi guy, he's going to kill all of us. We're not careful. And they're real, so everybody's real nervous around the Jedi guy, because they don't know what he is, but they think, oh well, he can take out the Rancor. The Rancor will eat anything; he'll eat him. And then they watch, like, no, Jedi are stronger than Rancors. So, and that's what they realize. Well, so they kind of lucked out getting him, but still. Yoda realizes, okay, I need to train Luke to be a Jedi because he's got the power, he's got the potential, but the thing is, he's not his son. And I think that was also part of it, is that Yoda he wanted to let the kid grow, and he wanted to basically hide out, because if he and Obi-Wan are together, well, it's only, they'll turn on each other, or whatever, but, as long as they blend in wherever they're going. So where does Yoda go? Yoda goes to a swamp planet, and you can imagine he's living in seclusion, but he's like, oh, well, hey, nobody knows I'm here, nobody's going to bother me, so okay. Let's see. But Luke comes to him in episode 5, and Yoda starts training him. Trains him in the way of the Force as best he can. Luke loses a little heart, and, Yoda's like, look, I can float your plane. This is how powerful the Force is. This is why you learn it, And Luke's like, oh, okay. But by the point of episode 5, Leia has left the active life, and she's now the focal point of the rebellion, because they destroyed her planet. And so she is the spokeswoman for the rebellion. People rally around her. There's Mon Mothma, this woman who is the leader of the Rebel Alliance. And her position is bolstered because of Leia. And so as a result, people are like, oh, look what happened to Leia. It could happen to our planet too. So that's why they start breaking off and joining. And Mon Mothma, she was a senator, I guess, who was cast out, but was able to basically organize, people and keep them, unified and keep the different factions together, as well as make the factions work together. And so that's what ended up happening there. And as a result, he goes to mention that there's a lot of people from. Why did I keep forgetting where Leia's from? But there's people who are left over from the planet that Leia was from, and destroyed, and other people, and they're all going to join together, but they had to build an army, they had to develop an army. So that is part of episode 4, is that you see this fleet that's developing, or episode 5, I mean, is that you see this fleet developing, and it's developing because strength is going for the Rebel Alliance, and the Calamari join, the Wookiees are part of it, but. Episode 6, what they do and what they kind of realize is that, we have to use the Jedi in a way, because we got a Jedi Knight, we got Luke, and that's part of why in the beginning of episode 6 they go rescue Han, which is like, why would you risk your resources? Because you got all these effective guys all going together, and that's why they went, because for one thing they wanted to conserve resources, but also they realized, well, we need Han Solo. He's our buddy, but also he's a really good pilot. He's very effective, and he's a good fighter. And men rally around him. Because you think of it like this: what has Han Solo done between episode 4 and episode 5? He's hung around. He should have why didn't he go take care of his debts right away? No, he hung around, and he kind of became known. And I think what it was, or part of what it was, is that he was training guys. They realized, well, we can use this guy to help us, because. The Rebel Alliance, they needed smugglers, so I think they hired Han, and Han was just, he's effective as a smuggler, effective as a little courier runner and stuff like that. He could get information, he could get people around. He becomes very effective, very handy like that. And so that's what Han is doing. He's really helping and keeping things alive.